Hey nerds, in this video I review and do a spoiler breakdown of The Last of Us, Episode 6 titled Kin, written by Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin, directed by Jasmila Zbanic, starting now. Welcome to the Nerd Social, I'm John. So in this episode, the spoiler-free summary logline is one wasn't provided to us, so I had to just make one up. This one here, without spoiling too much, is simply Joel and Ellie finally reach Wyoming. In this episode here, we have more encounters, lots of dramatic scenes as well, including a couple that many gamers, people who have played this game before, have been looking forward to. A particular couple interactions in this episode. This episode definitely follows a little bit more closely to the game in some things. Not exact, but close enough to where people can follow along, including some lines have been lifted straight from the game. There are some changes, slight differences here to make it a little fresh for people who are gamers like myself who have played through all of this. But another solid episode. Great acting from all around, great dramatic scenes, including some funny throw-ins as well, especially the cold opening. So I think you all are in for a treat. Not as intense as the previous episode, but certainly there's some tense moments here as well, including some reflection of what happened in that previous episode. So again, you're in for a treat here, and I think it sets us up for the final few episodes, especially where they're headed at the end of this episode. So again, very solid episode. We're going to get right into the spoiler breakdown of this episode. So before we do, again, please like and subscribe, and we want to make sure that if you guys can help us out here with the algorithms, and make sure you like, and also if you want to see more and get alerted to a lot of the same content that we do here, subscribe. All right, folks, here's your warning. Spoiler alert. 3 months later, after the previous episode, as you recall, it came down towards a very tense gut punch of an episode ending on the previous one, and this is now 3 months later. They finally do get into Wyoming, and if you recall some of the warnings of going out west trying to find Tommy, Joel's brother. So they encounter, Joel and Ellie encounter, looks like they're holed up in a house, a cabin that's out in the middle of nowhere. Greene, he is very much known in the movie world, TV world. You'll recognize him instantly. He plays a lot of different characters, great character actor. He shows up here as Marlon. Marlon, who comes back from hunting rabbits. Yeah, seriously, hunting rabbits. And he finds, I can't tell if it's his wife or his companion, Florence, who's played by Elaine. Joel pops out of nowhere with a gun, and he's got a gun on him and her. Joel's trying to find out where in the world are they. Is the Firefly camp nearby? And Graham Greene, along with Elaine, have some funny banter back and forth. They don't seem to be taking him, Joel and Ellie, as much of a threat here. So Joel just pretty much puts his gun away. They do try to help him out a little bit, pointing in the right direction, but also a warning that that area is very dangerous, especially he points to a river. Anything beyond that river is extremely dangerous. Not many people come back from there. So again, some foreshadowing here as Joel and Ellie move on from Graham Greene and Elaine. So as they make their way out, Ellie grabs one of the rabbits. I guess she's really hungry. Joel appears to be kind of bent over, buckled over, holding on to the wooden fence there. He appears to be having a panic attack. Just brushes it off, and they just keep moving along. One little nugget that Graham Greene dropped is that they were close to the Wind River Reservation. And if you've seen Graham Greene before, you've seen him in some Taylor Sheridan in the movie Wind River, and that's certainly a reference there, particularly in the Wyoming area. So a little nugget that I just picked up on, as I'm a fan of those movies. They make camp, Joel and Ellie. Joel wakes up to Ellie standing guard with the rifle in hand. He's not happy that she didn't wake him up, and at the same time, she did exactly what she was taught to do, especially during those 3 months that he has taught her, apparently. So she also reveals that she had tried to rub her blood, onto Sam's bites as they reflect on what happened in the previous episode, and she said it didn't work. And of course, Joel is saying, I don't know how it works, but that's not how it works. Definitely take note that this is beautiful scenery in this part of their journey, especially going through Wyoming. It seems like every time I see any depiction or any cinematography of the Wyoming area, it's just absolutely gorgeous. And this one's no different. So it's beautiful country out there as they're going along. They come upon a dam, and for those of you gamers out there, you recognize this dam, and it's certainly a point in the game where they get to explore it a little bit. I don't know if they get to do that on the show. They certainly make reference to it. You get to see it, and as soon as they recognize the dam too, they are realizing that they're close to this river that they speak of, this river of death, and they're quickly surrounded by people on horseback, gunmen on horseback, and they also have a dog with them as well. And they decide to test Joel by having the dogs sniff Joel, and I guess to see if he's infected. And the dog makes its way over to Ellie. No idea how anyone's expecting this dog to be, but Joel is scared out of his mind. But he's frozen. He's not doing anything. He's not doing anything at all. But it was all for nothing anyways, because it turns out the dog is very friendly with Ellie. Ellie's cracking up, petting the dog and hugging him. So I guess these gunmen realize that they're okay, but still very hostile, very, very hostile, tense situation here. So they take him back to their camp. And again, for those of you gamers who have played, this camp is very recognizable as it looks like they built this fort very similar to the way it's in the game as well in Jackson, Wyoming. So they make their way inside, and it is just a really nice western town. The streets are bustling with people, kids everywhere, and it seems like they're doing just fine in this town. And lo and behold, there is Tommy. So finally Joel finds Tommy. It's a nice moment. They embrace, they hug, and Joel finally made it to Tommy, so that's great. Later on, Joel gets a moment alone with Tommy. As they sit down, Tommy reveals that he is going to be a dad. Rutina Wesley, who plays Maria, and looks like she and Tommy are together. And he springs it on Tommy that, listen, I need help. I need help getting to the Firefly camp. This is not Firefly camp. Tommy reveals that he had to get away from the Fireflies, and these people took him in, and he owes them. Despite his background, his past, and what they know of him, they still took him in, and he sees this as a redemption opportunity to make a life there, especially with Maria. But Joel needs him. Joel needs him to take Ellie. He wants Tommy to take Ellie to the Firefly camp, and reveals to Tommy that Ellie is the key to a cure. Tommy says, I can't because, I've got a baby on the way. There's just no way. Meanwhile, Ellie is spending some time with Maria. Maria has gotten her clothes. Ellie has an opportunity to take a shower finally. And Maria also offers to cut her hair, maybe just trim the split ends. So as she does so, they're having a chat. And Ellie is naturally suspicious, a little hostile, defensive perhaps. And Maria is just trying to reach her. It appears Maria knows of Joel's history, especially where he and Tommy had to go, I guess, in order to survive. They killed people, they murdered people. Ellie throws this into the face of Maria, saying, Tommy killed people too. But meanwhile, Maria is trying to be a little protective, saying, you really shouldn't be out going around with Joel. You really should stay here. They talked about Sarah because on the wall, it lists two names there, and clearly two people that have died in their lives for Tommy and Maria. One was Maria's son, and the other is Sarah, and she naturally asked who Sarah was. Next, we see Ellie in her room upstairs, and Joel comes to her after he has already talked to Tommy. This is the scene that a lot of gamers have been looking forward to, at least one of the scenes. It's a very tense moment in the game, and it's no different in the TV show as well. So there's definitely an exchange between Joel and Ellie about Tommy taking Ellie and moving on to the next destination. This is because Ellie had overheard Joel speaking to Tommy about all of this, where Joel mentions that he's just too old and he's too slow and too deaf. He had talked to Tommy about the boy Brian who attacked him, and he caught him off guard because he couldn't hear him approaching, and he had put Ellie in a very dangerous situation at that time, and that he had to deal with that. And basically it's a tearful moment, a moment of vulnerability for Joel. And Pedro Pascal does a great job here with Gabriel Luna, and Tommy is listening into all of this and pretty much agreeing, okay, I'll take her, because he sees that Joel is basically defeated. He can't move on, he can't carry on. Ellie had overheard all of that, and she is of course pissed at Joel. She's absolutely pissed. You mean, do I mean nothing to you? And of course Joel is saying, you're not my daughter. And she even brings up. So after this big argument, Joel leaves and says, Tommy's taking you. That's that, taking you first thing in the morning. The next morning, Ellie is already dressed. She's got her backpack ready. The door opens to her room and Tommy walks in. Tommy says, let's go. And she's pretty much ready to go. Gets her backpack ready, dons it, and out the door. They're heading over to the stables where the horses are. And there is Joel waiting for her, and he's already prepping a horse. And it seemed like he was prepping the horse for Tommy. Joel says to Ellie that she has a choice, either him or Tommy to take her. Immediately, without any hesitation, she tosses him her bag and says, let's go. So in other words, she chose Joel. So there's a quick montage of them on horseback traveling, and you can see they're getting closer. Clearly they have thawed out whatever tension and disagreement they had before, since it now seems Joel is all in to take Ellie on. So they arrive to a university. I think it's the University of Eastern Colorado or something. You'll see the sign says Home of the Bighorns. Of course, the main reason they're looking at this university is because they're looking for any clues to where is the Firefly camp. Clearly there had been some evidence that the Fireflies had been there, but it looked like they had all packed up and left already. But as they realize that some intruders are on the premise, and they detect at least 3 of them, they see them, they find them. Very quickly and quietly they try to make their way back to the horse, and that's when they're attacked. Joel is attacked. Joel is stabbed during this skirmish, so he pulls a knife out and he's bleeding badly. They hop onto the horse and they're out of there. And once they get out of there, they finally get to a quiet place. Looks like some train tracks. But Joel, still very weakened, losing a lot of blood, falls off the horse. And Ellie is calling out for his name, and that's where we fade out here. Joel's in trouble. I like the way they showed in this episode the tensions that naturally occur. There's definitely lots of back and forth between Joel and Ellie, as after 3 months, you would think that they have gotten closer. They did get closer. They definitely thawed out over that time, only to kind of reset again because Joel is trying to shirk and pawn off his responsibilities to Tommy so that he can convince Tommy to take her the rest of the way to the Firefly camp. And then we're back again to where this time Joel seems to be recommitted to being responsible for Ellie, and that seemed to have thawed out again, as you can see when they're heading towards the university. But now Joel's in trouble. He looks to be very seriously injured because of the stabbing, and Ellie freaking out because she said, Joel, I don't know where I am. I don't know where to go. I need you, Joel. I need you, Joel. And that's how the episode ends. So great ending. Definitely, if you're a viewer like me, I'm going, oh, come on. I can't believe you ended it there. But that's exactly what they're trying to do, right? They've done a great job of keeping it to where we are anticipating the next episode already. So yes, everyone, you've got to wait another week. that wraps it up for another video review of The Last of Us. And thank you for joining, everyone, and we'll see you next time.